Hello, welcome back. This is sort of a walkthrough with Lab 3. My table is going to be a little bit different, but the idea is the same, right? So I'm starting with the author table. In the author table, I created 4 new columns: create user ID, create date time, update user ID, update date time. And I was kind of wrong. You can only have one timestamp column in a table. It's kind of a weird SQL Server thing. So I just called them date time. So 4 new columns. So I need a trigger that's going to execute against either the create or the update actions. So what I want to see is, if I insert a row, I want to update all 4. If I update a row, I just want to update these 2. So I got 2 choices. For each given table, I can write 2 triggers: an update trigger and an insert trigger. Or if I do it correctly, I can write 1 trigger, if that makes any sense. So I did it with 1 trigger, and you can kind of see what I did. You know, the normal stuff you have up top. I said my trigger, I'm sorry, let's go to this guy. That's what I'm dealing with. There's your drop, if it exists, drop. I created a trigger called author trigger on author, looking for insert or update events, right? So anytime that there's an insert or update, this will get fired. What I have to figure out is what action's being done. So when I'm get to this point here, where my cursor is, right about here, I have to figure out what actions is being asked. Is it asked to do an insert or an update or delete? And you can figure out with this logic. Okay, first thing it does is says create a new variable called action, and we're going to default it to I. And then I say, if there's anything in deleted is sort of a temporary table where it would table a deleted row would be in the deleted column, if that makes any sense, in a deleted table. If something exists here, I'm either doing an update or a delete. And then it says, when exists in inserted, then make that action a U, else it's a D. So think about what that means. If I do an insert and there's things just in inserted, then it's I, and it would default to I. If there's things in deleted but nowhere else, then it's a D. If you have rows in the deleted and rows in the inserted, it's really updating. Okay? So the first inserted row will come through and will default that action column to I. A subsequent update would hit this line of code and set that indicator to U. Now down here I'm just saying, if the action is I, which means an insert, run this update. If the action is U, run this update. Now that I think about it, this is a good statement. It would run, but it's going to run against everything, won't it? In other words, this will run against. There's no where clause on this. So where I have to do is say where author ID is in select author ID from inserted on both sides. Because remember, when I do an update, I'm definitely going to have something in the inserted object. Okay, so let's go and try to execute this. It should say that it's completed successfully. To prove this out, we got to insert some rows, right? So let me close this guy, and here we go. So I'm going to have a row, and I'm going to call it Joe Smith. And as this row is inserted, when I run this insert statement, I should get some messages that rows were affected. I run a query to look at all rows. I've got Joe Smith. We're cool. Okay. DBO, that just is a user that the database is using. The date here is different than this date, which means it didn't update every row. It only updated the row I was talking about. And this date time and this date time are the same. This is exactly what I want to see on the insert. Now let's go to the delete, or yeah, the update. That was author ID number 5 for that new row. I'm going to go through and change the last name from Smith to Jones. run the update statement, execute, go back in, rerun the query. Did it do it not right? Let's try that again. It's 5, I'm sorry. It's 5, not 6. There it is. Okay, it's updated. Re-execute the query. Jones is there. This date time, that date time is different. 10-9, which is still, the calendar didn't change. 23-14, yes, it's 11:14 at night, and it was updated at 23:15. So my insert trigger works, my update trigger works. It's not too terrible of code. The only thing that would be different for every table, all this stuff is going to be the same. All this stuff is going to be the same, except for author. You literally would change author to whatever table you're going to try to do. The author trigger would change based. The trigger name would probably have something to do with the table, right? So if you took this trigger and did a replace all of author to table class, that would work for this trigger. Hope that was helpful. You know what I'm going to do? I'll be nice. I'll post this working. Please take some time to go through to make sure you understand why the logic works, right? Prove it out yourself, just like I did. Create the trigger and then just insert rows, and it should timestamp it for you. And then post the lab. I think I was asking for a trigger like this for every table that was in lab 2. But once you get this, creating the other triggers is not a big deal. Hope this helps. Thank you.